Hi y'all, welcome to Yoga TX. My name is Crystal and today I've got a really slow, yummy, juicy hip flow for you. We'll start out with a little bit of breath to movement, a little bit more movement, but this will mostly be a slow, more yin-like practice. So go ahead and start in a comfortable seat. We'll just ground ourselves a little bit before we get into the hips. Sometimes it is nice to prop yourself up on something. I do have 2 blocks and a blanket. You don't necessarily need those for today, but if you have them, you can grab them and you can choose whether or not you want to use them. So I'm going to prop myself up on a block and a blanket. Lots of height can sometimes be nice. It also helps tilt the pelvis forward, gets us out of that slouch. Let your spine grow long and tall. Allow your eyes to close down. Begin to exhale all your air out. Take an inhale through the nose. Mouth open, let it go. Again, in through the nose. Mouth open, exhale. A little more like that. Inhale. Mouth open, let it go. And then start to seal your lips if that's available to you, breathing through the nose. Maybe take a little bit of a sway back and forth, feeling your sits bones rock on either side. Bring your awareness to your hips. Just that general region. Now, this area is associated with our second chakra, the sacral chakra. And the element here is water. The color is orange. So as you breathe here in and out through the nose, you can continue to rock here, imagining waves. You can even utilize your breath to bring to mind that imagery of the inhaling, the ocean, the tide coming forward, and exhaling, maybe watching the waves move away from the shoreline. All right, if you've propped yourself up on anything, go ahead and come off. And then start by bringing your feet, if you're facing forward on your mat, your feet will come mat width distance, and just windshield wipe your knees right and left. So getting a little bit of movement into the hips. And then we'll start by crossing our right ankle over the left knee. So your left knee is pointing up, your hands are planted behind you, and you might continue with that windshield wipe movement, or you can just breathe here. Now really flex through the left toes. I don't remember what I've said. I'm not mirroring. So your left ankle over the right thigh. And then take your bottom foot, which I think is your right foot. If it's not, it's fine. We're going to do everything on both sides. But start to toe heel it over to the left side of your space. And then we'll work towards double pigeon, but before we do so, go ahead and pick up your left foot with your right hand. We'll find rock the baby. Ooh, what? Your shin is your baby. Be gentle with your shin. So you might hold your foot in the hand, or for a little more, you can take your foot into the crook of your right elbow and have your forearms around your shin. You can continue this rocking motion. And instead of rounding in the spine, which kind of happens to a lot of us naturally, think about lifting your heart up. We want the spine to be long. And if you're like, this is a lot for me, to try a different version of this, you can take your left hand slightly behind you, and you can even lean into that left side. And this will massage more out the glutes, the sits bones. So you don't have to keep the shoulders over the hips. You can kind of make this uneven. And then from here, we will upright the spine. You can use your arms to assist and lay your left shin on top of the right. Now, if this is a lot, you can always bring the shin in front of the right shin, or you can also use a block to just support the knee. Because sometimes our knees are like really high and we gotta use time and breath to create more space. Hands can come behind you, maybe puff up the heart. If you'd like a little more sensation in the hips, you can start to walk your hands forward. And again, instead of just slouching into it, keep your spine long as you crawl your hands more forward. Now, this is also another great place where your blocks might come in handy. You might stack them and rest the forehead on the blocks. Now, we will be here for a few breaths, so you might utilize the blocks at first. Taking a few breaths here, your feet are still flexed, I can't talk, to protect the knee. And then one at a time, you might remove the block and then allow yourself to round a little more into it. So we always want to lengthen the spine first and then relax into it instead of coming straight into it with an already rounded spine. But wherever you are, see if you can slow down your breath. So they say that hips store emotion. And like I said, we will be here for a number of breaths. And usually we can do something for 20 to 30 seconds, and then we start to realize, oh no, what have I gotten myself into? So if you start to feel that at all, you have two options. You might choose to come out of the pose a little bit. Maybe your edge was a little bit farther back than where you thought it was. Or you can stay where you are as long as there is no sharp pain. And bring your awareness to your breath. See if you can lengthen your exhales and make them longer than your inhales. Utilize your breath to create a new edge in this pose. And if you're needing something to bring your focus on versus any sensation you're feeling in your body, you can come back to that image of waves. Each inhale, watch the tide roll in. And each exhale, watch it roll away. Check in with your feet, make sure they're still flexed and we haven't started to allow the feet to relax or the toes to point. And then start to press into your hands, crawl yourself back, come up slowly, take your time. Before we move to the other side, bring your hands behind you. We'll come back to that windshield wipe of the knees. Do this really slow. There might be a lot of sensation, tingliness on that first side, which I think was your left side. I've lost track. We're going to do the other side, which I think is your right shin on top. So we'll start here. I'm going to point the left knee up and then bring the right ankle over the left knee. Keeping the seated figure four shape, you might just hang here. This might be enough with your hands being kind of like a kickstand behind you. You might windshield wipe the knees right and left. Notice where you feel that, if this side feels different, easier, about the same. And then from here, find stillness. Go ahead and toe heel that bottom foot over so that it comes underneath the top knee. And before we stack the shins, let's rock our baby shins. Grab your foot in your hand and then your knee and the hand closest to it. I'm really confused on which side we're on. And go ahead and give your shin baby a rock. If you want more sensation, you can bring the foot into the crook of your elbow and interlace your fingers. Go ahead and keep rocking the shin. And here, try to let the leg be heavy so that your arms are really doing the work. This will allow your hip to be a little more lubricated, letting the joint move around. Here, using your hands to assist, go ahead and lay the shin on top of the bottom one. Again, feel free to utilize any props on this side if you feel that there's a lot of distance between your top knee and the floor. And then hands can come behind you like a kickstand. This might be enough. Always feel free to stay here or begin to walk your hands forward any amount. And that might mean just bringing the heart a little bit in front of the sits bones. This can also sometimes feel like a lot. Check in with your feet, make sure they're flexed. If this feels okay, start to walk your hands more forward. Again, an opportunity to use any support you need. Again, this is a slower class. You don't have to jump straight into your edge. Take your time to get there. And that can also mean utilize support any way you need it. I think there was a time in my yoga practice where I was like, I don't need props. I can do anything. And now I have an almost 8-month-old, and I'll take any support I can get. And sometimes that just means I'm going to use all the props. So listen to your body and use what you have. Utilize your resources if you have them. And if you don't, your breath is always your greatest resource. So tune in with that. Check in with your alignment. Check in with your feet. And if you have a little more space, feel free to walk yourself a little farther forward and melt the forehead down. A few more rounds of breath on this side. It's an 8-month-old baby, by the way, like a human baby. Sometimes I'll say an 8-month-old and they're like, is it a human or a dog? And I'm like, it's a baby, human baby. Skin baby, but people think it's weird when I say that. You call them fur babies. I don't know. I hope my bantering is helping you relax. From here, go ahead and press yourself up. We'll find that windshield wipe of the knees again. So feet mat width distance if you're facing the long way. Windshield wipe the knees right and left. Take it slow. And from here, we'll find lizard. Again, we'll do everything on both sides. I'm going to demo with my right leg first. I'm actually going to pad my back knee with the blanket. So I'm going to come into this from down dog. If you want to join me there, inhale, you'll float your right heel high. As you exhale, step your foot wide outside the right hand. And you might stay here if you're feeling a little more fiery or active, like you have a lot of space. You might even just take this as a moment to set up, shifting your weight forward and back. And then start to soften the back knee down. Great place for blocks underneath the hands. And breathe here. This can be your lizard. If you have the space or feel that your edge is a little bit farther away, you might start to bend the elbows, bringing them to the ground or to blocks on any setting. Blocks are a great way to bring the earth closer to you. And once you've found your edge, breathe into it. Let the breath be slow and long. And let your head be heavy. So really let the chin tuck towards the chest here. An option to keep the entire sole of the foot grounded, or you can start to roll to the outer edge of the foot. So letting the big toe come off the earth and your knee will come more out to the side. And this is just an option. Feel free to try it. If it doesn't feel good in your body, just keep the big toe down. Each exhale, see if you can melt a little more into the pose. And from here, bring your hands back underneath your shoulders. We'll still stay on this first leg. Start to toe heel your foot over to the left side of your mat. And we'll find pigeon here. So you have the option to place a block underneath your right glute if the floor feels far. Your back leg can be extended. You can also bend your left knee out to the side so you have more of a 90 degree shape in the legs. These are all variations of pigeon. You don't have to do the standard back leg straight. And also, that being said, your pigeon might also be here with your heart lifted. Think about the flexion in the toes, protect the knee. And then if this feels okay, you might start to walk yourself forward any amount. Maybe the forehead rests on your forearms or on blocks, maybe stacked fists. Breathe here. Now, if none of this feels good in your body, you can also take a figure 4 on your back. That's right ankle over left thigh, and you might hug the shin in. It's another option and way to stretch the same area. A few more breaths here. All right, bring your hands under your shoulders. You might press back to a downward facing dog and float the right heel up. Maybe you circle out the knee, just getting some mobility back into it. You can also take this with the left knee down and circle out the knee. And from here we'll find pigeon on, we'll find lizard, there we go, on the left side. So inhale, float the left heel. As you exhale, step wide outside the left hand. Maybe you shift forward and back. And then start to soften the back knee down. Opportunity for support. I feel like opportunity makes things sound better. Like I had the option, but I did it the harder way. Or I had the opportunity to give myself a little bit of grace. And you can always say, I didn't need that. I almost threw this. That would have been bad. I would have knocked a light over or something. Anyways, go ahead to start to come down if that feels accessible in your body. And if it doesn't, remember you can always back out of it. And then option to come onto the outer knife edge of your foot, letting the knee come out heavy to the side. All right, from here, If you've bent your elbows, press into your hands, and then we'll find our pigeon set up on this side. Toe heel the foot over to the right side of your mat. The shin might be parallel to the short edge, or the heel can come in a little bit closer. Back leg can be extended or bended out to the side. And feel free to stay here. Again, you can also take this on your back, left ankle over right thigh. Lots of options. And if you want to take the heart down, you can start to crawl forward. Maybe rest the forehead on a block, or you can stack your forearms, stack your fists. Find a way to support yourself for these next few rounds of breath. Start to bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Then find what you need after that. Maybe keep your right knee down and circle out the left knee. You can also find that three-legged dog, circle out the knee. Sometimes it's also nice to just take a cat-cow. Feel how the stretching of the hips kind of helps move or reverberate to other areas of your body. And then if you'd like, you can move towards a shavasana here, just laying on your back. You can find a meditative seat if you need to move on with your day. If you're ready to move forward, bring your hands to your heart space. And we'll seal this practice with a breath together. Start to exhale all your air out. Inhale, fill your lungs, breathe into your hands, and sigh it out. Thank you so much for joining me here at Yoga TX. If you like what we're doing, please like and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to follow me, you can find me on Instagram. My handle is at its_Crystal. That's CRYST, 5 A's and an L. Namaste.